by bread alone. Yeah, this word got food in it. Stepping on the devil dome, you should see the bruise in it. Backing out the scripts, told a demon to stand down. Go against the Most High, we gon' see how it pan out. The Father gave me hope, fill me with the ghosts. Now they hate it when I glow. Joseph with the coat, looking for their fruit, but they ain't got no cantaloupe. The Messiah or Belial, you can't be a fan of both. Can't serve two masters. Bread of heaven with the living water, yeah, serving up a truth platter. We ain't idolizing no folly, now we setting up a new standard. When Christ touched down, make the whole earth shake like Bruce Banner. Yeah, bringing them troops to ya. End times getting spookier, warfare getting nuclear, mankind getting goofier. They intoxicated with a wine, damn, she done roofied them. I'm checking every word, spirit doctrine like a proofreader. I hate these Nicolatans, hate these great Renatos, man, I hate these flipping pagans. Trying to play my father and I hate these imitations. Screaming out Hosanna, we escape that simulation. Better flee to me, vote these or else that lake is where you layin'. Great is he inside of me, casting out this net like I was by the Sea of Galilee. Harvest gon' be plenty, but the laborers are few. Matthew 17 and 20, there ain't nothing we can't do. I can't be no lukewarm, Fringes with the blue on. Devil wanna deal, but I told him this ain't Groupon. Praise to the Almighty, you know we gon' sing a new song. Hail the King of King, the Ultra Low, no Jimmy Neutron. If you keep his laws and his commands, then we can fellowship. I don't get with Pharisees and I don't rock with Hellenists. I ain't praising man, cause only Father get my reverence. I'm swimming in the word, it got me feeling like a yellowfin. Yeah, big stepper, Mr. Demon Chin Checker, trying to hear that well done, cause I feel that displeasure. Father pouring out the wrath, and he got a big measure. If it ain't about the kingdom, then I don't give a six letter. You got faith in the Messiah, you got power. I was clean up in that blood just like a shower. Isaiah 5, you were the vine that came out sour, but now we stand and giving glory in this hour. Yeah, we breaking them curses, fleeing the ways of the serpent. Follow his word and pray for discernment, cause they want us laying in hearses. We gotta rise up, raise and resurface. Choose life and stay in your purpose. The price was paid like a merchant, through Christ who came as a servant. See, the kingdom is ready to beg, but yet somehow they chasing a Birkin. After this you ain't getting a chance, while you living you can't better search him. Gotta call on his name like his urchin, never knowing that day is emerging. So repent at the weight of perversions, judgment coming, that thing is for certain. Let's go.
Shalawam family, it's your brother Shar Ahrayahla from the House of Bread, and I have to give all praises, all glory, and all honor to the Most High God, whose name is Yahawaah. Of course I do so in the name of his only begotten Son, Hamashiach, Yahawashi, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Make sure you make your way over to HIBofficialZion.com and get you a copy of the HIB, the Hebrew Israelite Bible. Shalawam, Kwam Yasharahla.
The Hebrew Israelite Bible is the first of its kind, restoring the names of persons, places, and things in the ancient Hebrew dialect, colloquially referred to amongst the Israelite community as the Lashawan Quadash. Most importantly, it preserves the Most High's name YAHAWAH in the Paleo-Hebrew script. The Hebrew Israelite Bible comes complete with all 80 books found in the 1611 King James Version Bible, including the Apocrypha.
All right, Shalawam family. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, all glory, and all honor to the Most High God, whose name is Yahawaah. Of course, I do so in the name of his only begotten Son, Hamashiach Yahawashi, who the world anybody calls Jesus Christ. It's your brother Shar Ahrayahla, and today we are getting ready to dive into a reaction, and then we're going to go into some current events, making sure that we stay abreast with what's going on in the world, right? Of course, we bring this all the time. The book of 2nd Ezra chapter 9 tells us something very important, right? That we have to measure the time diligently, right? So I'll read it real quick. This is 2 Ezra chapter 9 and verse 1. It says, and he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning, right? So we got to measure the time, right? We got to, of course, be locked in with current events, and we got to be tapped in with the scriptures, right? In order to have a good understanding of something like prophecy, we have to actually be keeping the commandments, right? And this is what we harp on within this community, is that we, as so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, who are the children of Israel here in the Western Hemisphere, we have to keep the commandments, right? It's imperative, right? In order to improve our communities, we have to keep the commandments. In order for us to get delivered out of this hellhole, to get delivered out of America, Babylon the Great, we must keep the commandments. Keeping the commandments is what enables us to have a good understanding, because the law, statutes, commandments is our wisdom and our understanding in the sight of the nations, right? Furthermore, let me just pull this up real quick. Sirach chapter 39 and verse 1, it says, but he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High and is occupied in the meditation thereof will seek out the wisdom of all the ancient and be occupied in prophecies, right? We have to be occupied in these prophecies because we are living in these last days. Now, as the Apostle Paul said, he said, again, at that time, right, obviously, he and the other apostles were hastening the day and believed that Christ will return within their lifetime. But he said, for the time has come that we awake out of sleep, because our salvation is near than we believe. We currently are closer to salvation than the nation of Israel has ever been before, right? And again, well, as we look at these prophecies and we line up prophecy with history and current events, it's clear that we are indeed in these last days, right? So Shalawam family, I pray brothers and sisters are doing well. Make sure you guys like the video, share the video, hype the video. Right now we're live. You can't hype while we're live, but once the live is over, come back, hype the video for your brother so that we can push this message and push this gospel to the four corners of the earth, and to spread this information, this truth to our people, right? Additionally, make sure that you're tapped in, right? Got a new little setup here on the channel, right? Make sure that you're tapped in with myself on my various social media platforms, on Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, and X. My handle is at LionOfYahawah. On Facebook, it's Ahrayahla Yasharahla, and my cash app's down there if it's on brothers and sisters' hearts, right? So let's dive into this video, man. So shout out, I think the brother's in the chat. Shout out to the brother McCall from HNOI. What does HNOI stand for, brother? There's so many camps now, man. All praise to the Most High. Brothers are out there on the street corners pushing this word. Look at this schmuck, right? Brothers out here pushing this word. Brothers are out here doing what Yahawashi commanded of us, to go out to the highways and hedges to bid our people to the marriage, right? Holy nation of Israel, all praise to the Most High, right? Where you brothers, I think you're in Michigan, right? Where the rest of you brothers at? Y'all in Michigan, McCall? I believe that's you on the channel. Kevin, whoever you are, cool it before you get taken up out of here, right? I'm not sure how many mods I got in here, but listen, today, right, I'm not playing, right? If they on BS, Get them up on out. I need my shooters on deck, right? So yeah, kind of pray in Grand Rapids, Michigan. All praises. So yeah, let me pull up my screen. Give me 1 second. Right, and we'll dive right into it. Where we at? All praise to the Most High. All right, so again, as you guys see the title of the video, right? This brother got threatened by an IDF soldier, right? All praise to the Most High. Yahawashi said that blessed art thou when men shall revile you and speak all manners of evil against you. So this good brother is blessed, right? We actually, when we look at the apostles, they rejoiced that they received affliction for the truth, right? Because again, this is what Yahawashi said: "Blessed art thou when men shall revile you," right? So let's just dive. Actually, before that, right? As you can see, the brother got again threatened by this IDF soldier, and we're going to also dive into this Section 19 of the National Defense Authorization Act and the integration of the U.S. military with the IDF, which is the Israel Defense Force, I believe is what it stands for. Who cares, right? The small hat army, right? So let's dive into this, right? Let me get a warning chat. Make sure your brothers and sisters can hear everything.
The law, for sin is the transgression of the law. So we're taught in the church that we don't have. Huh?
Stand for the white man.
I don't stand for the white man. The white man.
Right here.
Oh,
you don't stand for the white man?
no, I don't.
What?
And I'm out here for the Israelites.
Listen.
Uh,
Let me tell you something.
I'm listening to you.
Let me tell you something. I'm gonna come over here. Off camera. Let's go. Let me tell you something, bro. Let me tell you something. I'm gonna be straight up. I respect what you're doing. And I know where I'm recording because it's for your safety. Because if I were to punch you in your face, you would call the police. No, let me tell you something. And this would be, let me tell you something. I wouldn't. No. Okay, I'm not saying that. But this would be what would save you.
I'm not saying that. Yes, you are saying that. Bro, I'm telling you, these people, man, they are the diablos that the Bible speaks of, right? They are the deceiver, the diablos that the Bible speaks of. Everything with these people, right, is smooth words, right? The scripture talk about his words were smoother than butter, but they were really drawn swords, right? These people hate, right? They hate us so much. For what reason? A lot of our people don't know, but when you actually tapped in with the scriptures, you understand why these people hate us, right? You understand why these melanin deficient individuals have a vehement disdain for so-called Blacks, so-called Hispanics, so-called Native Americans, right? It's because we're the children of Israel. They're the children of Edom, right? Esau sold his birthright, right? Sold his birthright and his blessing, and then got mad when Jake, finessed to get it from Pops because you sold it, right? They have had that perpetual hatred for us for millennia, right? So we understand, all right, us in the truth, right? We understand why these people vehemently hate us, right? The average one of our people, right, so-called Blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, they don't really know. This is why, again, it's sad what happened, right, with the brother Nolan Wells, but Black folk need to stop hanging out with white people. Black men, Black women need to stop marrying and dating and dealing with white women. Same thing for our Latino brothers and sisters, right? See, the issue with a lot of the Latinos is that within the Spanish colonies, they had this caste system, right, where your proximity to whiteness afforded you so much more better treatment, right? I think they had like over 12 different castes, right? At the bottom was black, right? So they want to get as far away from black as possible, and that's just a divide and conquer tactic of the so-called white man, right? This is their modus operandi, right? To divide and to conquer, because when black and brown folk are unified, they can't fuck with us, right? So shout out to the brother McCall here from HNOY, right? And again, he's having an interaction with this I'm not sure if he's a small hat or not. I did watch the video. I'm not sure if he's a small hat or not, but the man did fight in the IDF. Right? I don't know why a regular white man in America will want to go fight in the IDF if he isn't Jewish, right? But anyway, let's get back into the video.
Well, let me tell you something. I served in infantry in the army for Israel. For Israel, though. And you don't look like you're from Israel.
Yeah, because those aren't the real Israelites in Israel. Those aren't the real Jews. Because the real Israelites don't kill people. The real Israelites don't cause genocide.
I kill people. So what are you gonna do about it?
What am I gonna do about it? I don't have to do nothing about it.
So now he's over here bragging. I've killed people. That's what I've unalived people. So what you gonna do about it? That's a threat. You see, all praise to the Most High that this brother has a certain level of restraint. I'm gonna tell you one thing, right? If a Edomite come up to me while I'm doing the work on this type of time, it's going a completely different way. It's going a completely different way. I'm letting you know that right now, right? But all praise to the Most High that this brother, you know what I mean, he didn't allow this devil to trick him out of his spot. But let me tell you, Esau I would have ran right up in Esau's mouth, straight like that. Nigga, so I unalive people. What you gonna do about that? Listen, bro, you don't want these problems. I tell you that you don't want these problems.
God's gonna handle that.
I am God, bro.
You're God.
My name is Ultimento, bro.
Ultimento. So
what does that even mean? Ultimento? That nigga look like he looks like he needs a mento. That nigga like his breath was humming. See that? All praise to the Most High. Trust me, bro. I get it. I ain't gonna lie. I've been in this walk for quite some time. It's been going on 8 years in this upcoming fall, and I've watched a ton of different camps have different interactions with different people, especially Edomites, right? Like I watched the brothers of WFI. They threw an Edomite in the harbor. Esau came up with the rah-rah. Esau got thrown in the harbor. All right, I'm like, damn, I was just jealous. I'm like, damn, why everyone else get to have fun? Why I don't get to have no fun, right? But I mean, I chalk it up to the Most High, truly just protecting me, right? Because he know how I am, right? So Yahoo suffered. Yes, Edomites are Shemitic, right? The term Shemitic means that you're a descendant of Shem, right? You had Ham, Shem, Japheth, right? Anyone that descends from Shem would be Shemitic, right? One of Shem's sons was Elam, right? Elamites, your Persians, which are modern day Iranians, East Indians, Pakistanis, those are Elamites. They're Shemitic, right? Every single Hebrew, right? Whether you're a Hebrew Israelite, you're a Hebrew Edomite, a Hebrew Moabite, or a Hebrew simply means that you descend from the man named Eber, right? These are all Shemitic people. Asian people are Shemitic, right? Your Chinese, your Japanese, Koreans, those are Shemitic people, right? Your Arabs, they're Shemitic people, right? There's various different Shemitic peoples, right? But Esau, right? The Bible lets us know. Let's get that real quick. In the book of Malachi, that these people are the border of wickedness, right? So Malachi chapter 1, it says, I'll start at verse 2. It says, I have loved you, saith the Lord, yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith the Lord? Yet I loved Jacob, and I hated Esau, and lay his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord hath indignation forever. So God is justifiably so angry at the Edomites forever and has hatred for them because of the evil that they are. Right now, someone might ask, well, who can resist God's will? Paul addresses this in Romans 9, right? Who can resist God's will, and why does he yet find fault when they're just fulfilling the role that the Most High God created them for? Well, the scriptures tell us in Proverbs chapter 16, in verse 4, it says, the Lord hath made all things for himself, yea, even the wicked for the day of evil. Actually, I don't even think that I switched to the right browser, right? Let me just pull it up real quick. Salakia family, just so y'all can follow along on the screen, right? So again, we read Malachi 1, where the Most High God expresses his hatred and indignation for the Edomites perpetually. Then when we take a look at Proverbs 16 and 4, again, the Most High God created all things for himself, even the wicked for the day of evil, right? So wicked people were made for a purpose, right? Same way righteous people were made for a purpose. We live in a world of duality and dichotomy, right? A world where you have light and dark, good and evil, right? And the issue, right, lies in is that a lot of people think that the Most High God, he only created good. He only created good. No, the Most High God created all things for himself. He created the evil to be evil, to juxtapose from the righteous, so that you know the difference between right and wrong, good and evil, right? And we're just living in his movie, right? Now let's get back into it.
Okay, bro. So you're the ultimate one.
Yeah.
Who gave you that name?
God, bro.
God gave you that name?
Yeah.
You're Israeli?
I serve for Israel.
Back up a little bit. Remove me.
So he said I'm not sure he's Jewish or not. He said, I served for Israel. Again, why would anyone in their right mind who's not Israeli fight for Israel? Like, well, it's not their fault, but right now the military of the United States of America, these people are dying. They're talking about there's only 700. I think they just updated the numbers. Like over 700 soldiers have died since this engagement with Iran. All of those soldiers died in vain. They died for the Zionist state of Israel. They died fighting so that Israel can have health care, so that Israel can have all types of incentives and whatnot, so that Israel can commit genocide in the West Bank and genocide in Gaza, to go up into Lebanon to try to get greater Israel, right? But again, as the brother said so rightfully so, these people are not the true Israelites. They're not the true children of God. And biblical prophecy demonstrates that, right? At length, I've gone into Ezekiel, the 36th chapter, which says that the Edomites would take the land of Israel into their possession at the time and right before the Israelites are at hand or getting ready to return back to the land. So the brother said it rightfully so. We are the true Israelites, so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans here specifically in the Western Hemisphere, right? Our people are scattered to the four corners of the earth, and the people that inhabit the land, they are Gentiles, right? They are heathen, and they're actually the residue of the heathen, right? The worst of the heathen.
Let's have a conversation.
I serve for
Hey, man,
Israel.
don't do that.
I serve for Israel. But you're on camera, so I already know you ain't gonna do shit.
I'm not gonna do it. I'm just telling you right now, bro. Back up, please. Back up.
Let me tell you something.
Back up, please.
I serve this.
You just did
I'll
that.
give a fuck.
Okay, it's cool. But, hey, you can walk away though. I'm not bothering nobody. I'm just gonna teach the Bible. And I see you bothering them. You don't have to come and do that to me though.
You're talking no.
Yo, this guy had to be drunk, man. I'm convinced this guy had to be drunk. Could you smell liquor on this brother's, not this brother, this Diablo's breath, Brother McCall? Yahoo Suffer, you've been in the comments over on a bunch of my videos over the last couple of days. So let's make something very clear, right? The people that live in the land of Israel, they call themselves Jews. They call themselves Israelites, right? Or Israelis. They believe that they are the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They are not actually Jews. They are not actually descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They are descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Esau. They are Edomites, specifically Amalekites, right? And they've taken our land, right? The Israelites were cast out of the land, and according to biblical prophecy, they won't return to the land until the Messiah returns. 1948 was not a fulfillment of any biblical prophecy other than Ezekiel 36, right? Now, with that said, what you're speaking of is what we've been discussing back and forth in the comments. Paul, the Apostle Paul, did not write letters to non-Israelites. The Apostle Paul wrote letters to the children of Israel who were scattered, to the children of Israel who were Hellenized, to the children of Israel that were alienated or cut off from the commonwealth of Israel. According to Genesis chapter 17, if a descendant of Abraham, Isaac, or Jacob specifically is not circumcised on the 8th day, they are cut off from the people. And that happened en masse. That happened before the Greeks, right? Because when we read Ezra and Nehemiah, we had all these Israelites who took on these heathen wives, and their children were being raised in the way of their heathen wives, right? Worshiping the gods of their heathen wives. And it was the decision of leadership in the nation to cast off those women and those children. That's the first wave of that diaspora. Even before that, not every Jew came back from Babylon or from the different areas in the east, right? Not everyone moved back, right? So you had a scattering of the children of Israel, mainly the southern kingdom of Judah, going back to the time of Ezra and Nehemiah. Then, right, during the time of Alexander the Great's conquest, he spread Hellenism all over, right? They spread it to Egypt. For instance, if any of you guys watched the lesson that I did on Friday, we went into who is the Pharaoh of the Exodus. There was a 3rd century BCE, right, which is before Christ, historian, native Egyptian by the name of Manetho. Now, Manetho is a Greek name, and the man spoke Greek. And he wrote a histories of Egypt in the Greek tongue. Why is that? Because the Greeks spread Hellenism, right, all over. That affected the Israelites as well, right? Sadducean thought came from a man named Antigonus of Sicco, a Jew with a Greek name, and his philosophies are eerily similar to Epicureans, right? This is something that affected the Jews. And when you read the book of 1st and 2nd Maccabees, it was illegal for one to call himself a Jew. You had Jews who were consenting to following the religion of King Antiochus Epiphanes, right? And you had Jews that were literally uncircumcising themselves. This is the history. So these are the people that Paul wrote to. Paul was not writing to white Greeks and white Romans or heathen. He was not. Because these brothers and sisters went into the way of the Gentiles, we call them Gentiles. If a boy is not circumcised on the 8th day and he's cut off from the people according to the Torah, he's cut off from Israel. He's alienated from the commonwealth of Israel. What would he be considered? He would be considered a Gentile. Simple. That's who Paul was sent to. Paul was not sent to anyone else other than the lost sheep of the house of Israel. All right. So now, back on that topic, right? And this schmuck right here, who risked his life for the Zionist state of Israel, right? Let's see what Christ said about this, right? Let's go to the book of Luke chapter 21 real quick. Luke 21 and 24. It says, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. The time of the Gentiles has not been fulfilled. So presently, the city of Jerusalem is being trodden down by Gentiles. Who? The Arab Palestinians and the Edomitic Israelis. Simple. They are trodden down God's holy land. The holy land of God is controlled by Gentiles. Okay? So now let's get back to this video.
Listen, I'm trying to tell you to speak back up, bro.
Oh, now you're gangster.
No one's saying I'm gangster, but I'm telling you to back up.
I don't understand how please back up makes someone a gangster. I'm telling you, man, these people, my disdain for them grows exponentially each and every day. Each and every day. These people are the absolute worst.
We don't have to be this close to each other. Let's have a respectful conversation.
Okay, I am.
Okay, so back up a little bit, bro. You don't have to be that close. Let's just back up a little bit. Let's have a respectful. So what's your question?
My question is, are you from Israel?
No, I'm not from Israel, but my ancestors are.
That doesn't make any sense.
How don't it make sense?
Let me tell you something. Respectfully, bro.
I'm listening to you.
And I respect what you're doing.
Okay.
For real.
Clearly, you don't respect what he's doing. You're invading his personal space. You're making threats, talking about I've unalive people. What you gonna do about it? Like, bro, like you're really being extremely disrespectful. But this is what you could expect from the basis of human beings, the basis of men, the Edomites. So he said it didn't make any sense. My ancestors, I'm not from Israel, but my ancestors are from there. Right? He says that did not make sense. So let's just take a look at what the Bible says. Lord in Christ, man. Watch this. Let's just go to the Bible. Deuteronomy chapter 30, right? It says, and it shall come to pass when all these things come upon thee, the blessings and the curse, which I have set before thee, that thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations whither the Lord thy God hath driven thee. So God drove the Israelites amongst all nations. All nations, last time I checked, don't inhabit the land of Israel. Okay? And shalt return unto the Lord thy God. So while in exile, the children of Israel are going to return to the Lord their God and shall obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children with all thy heart and with all thy soul. That then, so this has to happen first. The children of Israel are going to get scattered for their disobedience, right? Which is a part of the curses that God said will befall the children of Israel for their disobedience. Last time I checked, the vast majority of so-called Jewish people are so-called secular. They don't actually keep the tenets of the Torah, right? They don't even keep the tenets of so-called Judaism, which is not truly even based off of the Torah, right? But somehow, some way, they're living in the land. Somehow, some way, they're not experiencing any of the curses that God said will befall the children of Israel. The only logical conclusion that one could deduce is that these people are not the children of Israel. It's simple. It says that then once you return, you and your children, and follow me, keep my commandments with all your heart, with all your soul, that then will the Lord thy God turn thy captivity, meaning bring you back, right? Take you out of captivity and have compassion on thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations whither the Lord thy God hath scattered thee. If any of thine be driven out to the outmost parts of heaven. America's very far from Israel, last time I checked. Right? You got Israelites in South America, very far from Israel. You got Israelites in the subcontinent of India, very far from Israel. If any of thine be driven out to the utmost parts of heaven, from thence will the Lord thy God gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee. So for this schmuck to say that doesn't make any sense, it's because you're a goddamn idiot. You don't know the Bible. You don't know anything about the history of the land of Israel, and you don't realize that you're risking your life to fight for people that call you a goy. Right? They want to feed you goy slop. Now they're trying to weaponize the term goy slop as a derogatory term against Jewish people. Imagine that. Imagine that. But that's the world that we live in, right? It's absolutely insane. Now, anyway, let's get back into it.
I'm gonna back up.
It's cool. Okay. Let's have a conversation.
I'm gonna back up.
That's cool.
Right here.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to tell you is I served an infantry, bro,
Okay.
for Israel.
Yeah.
Okay, who gives a fuck?
Okay. So you're a veteran.
No, not a veteran.
Okay.
A veteran would mean that I served in war and no longer served in war. I still served in war.
Okay, so you're still fighting. Okay.
Your mic's off, bro.
I know. Look, I just want to talk to you man to man. It's still fun. So what's the point in telling me that?
So what I'm trying to tell you, bro, is you don't look like you're Israeli, bro.
It's because he's not Israeli, you goofball. Let's look at oh my man. I swear these people are in freaking insane, right? Let's go to @10online.com. Israeli, citizen of the state of Israel. 1948, from Israel. Hebrew national designation, right? Also used in the English as an adjective. It distinguishes the citizens of the modern state of Israel. Distinguishes the citizens of the modern state of Israel from the ancient people who have been known in English since the 14th century as Israelites. Israelis and Israelites are two different things. An Israeli is a citizen of the modern state of Israel, which was established in 1948. It is distinguished from the ancient people of that land known as the Israelites. So no, he does not look like an Israeli because the Israelis are not the children of Israel. Israelis are just the current occupiers and the current colonizers of God's land. Like facts, right? There's nothing that you could have said to this man, right, on an intellectual level that he would have been able to grasp, right? There's nothing, because again, this is a troglodyte. This is the basis of human beings, right? I didn't say that. This is what the Bible says, right? Let's go to the book of Daniel, chapter 4 and verse 17. It says, "This matter is by the decree of the watchers, and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and setteth up over it the basis of men." Now, contextually, this is Nebuchadnezzar, right, receiving a word because the Most High God is getting ready to debase him, right? But when we look at who's in control right now, right, the Most High God has given it to the basis, the lowest of human beings. All right, let's take a look at Job 9 and 24. Oldie but goodie. It's something that doesn't get brought out too much, right? It says, "The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he?" Who has control of the earth, right? Even if you're just looking at this phrase for earth, aratas or arets, right? It means the land, right? If we're looking at just the land of Israel, who has control of the land of Israel? The Israelis. The Bible saying that they're wicked. They are the wicked. And these people cover the faces of the judges thereof, right? There's a lot of conspiracy and a lot of people who say, oh, Jerusalem and the land of Israel today is not the real land of Israel, right? But archaeology demonstrates that is indeed false, right? That the current land that's being occupied by the Israelis is the land that the Most High God promised to Abraham, to his descendants Isaac and Jacob. That's the land. Prophetically, it says that the Edomites would take control of that land. And that's why we see the people known as Israelis living there right now. It's just biblical prophecy and history coming together. Simple, right? But again, these people are base, they're low level, and they're wicked.
That don't look right.
Okay, cool. So are you telling me that those people in Israel are the real Jews?
It depends on what type of religion you're talking about.
I'm not even talking.
And this is the thing, right? We live in a world where the term Jew has been associated with religion. First and foremost, the term Jew, right? Let's just show everyone the word Jew, right? Jew. Right, watch this. Is this the Hebrew or the Aramaic one? This is the Aramaic. Right. Boom. Right. H3064. Jew. Right. This is the word that's translated as Jew. Okay. Jew. Patronymically from H3063, which is what? Judah. Judah is what? Judah is the son of Jacob and Leah, the tribe descended from Judah, the son of Jacob. That's what the word Jew means, right? It literally means descendant of Judah. That's what it means historically, right? However, that term began to be used for individuals, Israelites, who were under the kingdom of Judah. You had the nation of Israel. It was united under Saul, under David, under Solomon. Right? Solomon sinned. The kingdom was split in two. You had Rehoboam ruling over Judah, and you had Jeroboam ruling over the northern kingdom of Israel. Within Judah, you had Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. So those three tribes, Judah, Benjamin, Levi, are known as Jews because they are of the southern kingdom of Judah. But etymologically, it means that you're a descendant of the man named Judah. So for instance, the brother who is speaking in the video, he's an Ephraimite. He wouldn't be a Jew, right? He wouldn't be a Jew. I'm from the tribe of Judah. I'm actually a Jew. But this brother is an Israelite. All Israelites are not Jews, but all Jews are Israelites. Okay? So very simple to understand.
Religion. I'm talking.
So now he's talking about religion. Again, the term Jew has been co-opted to mean a follower of so-called Judaism or a religion, right? But it is still associated with a so-called ethnic group of people. It just so happens that the people who claim to be Jews are what? They are not. So let's go to the book of Revelation, chapter 2 and verse 9, right? Because we may have new people in here, right? Again, a lot of you brothers and sisters, y'all are very well acquainted with this Bible verse, right? Revelation 2 and 9, I know thy works in tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. These people are the synagogue of Satan. They are not the children of Israel. They're the children of Satan.
About bloodline descendants. Do you believe that they're the bloodline descendants of the children of Israel?
Who's that?
I'm talking about the Israeli.
Did he just say who's that? He doesn't even know he doesn't even know what Israelite means.
White man.
No, I'm talking about the Israelis in Israel. Of the children of Israel?
Who's that?
I'm talking about the Israelis.
White man.
No, I'm talking about the Israelis in Israel. Do you believe that those are the real Israelis? I'm just asking the question.
I don't care what your mic's off for a reason.
Okay.
And that's off too.
Okay.
Let me tell you something. I'm gonna stand right here because I have human decency for this country. But let me tell you something, bro. That says 666 on it.
Right.
Is that what Israel believes?
I don't know what they believe.
So I'm assuming he's referring to the sign of Cesare Borgia, right? A lot of people, they see, right, Cesare and the accepted image of who the world called Jesus Christ, and we see the brothers have put horns on them and a snake tongue, and they said that this is not Jesus, right? But people are just so brainwashed into thinking that this white man with blonde hair and blue eyes, stringy dog hair is Jesus. It's because of white supremacy. White supremacy rules the earth. So-called white people, who are the Edomites, they are the wicked of the Bible. And the earth has been given into their hand. They control the world. They hold what's known as hegemony. And because they've been put in power, they've painted the faces of the judges that you read about in the Bible. The people that you read about in the Bible, they were people of color. Their descendants today are so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. It's that simple. But because the white man rules the earth, because he's literally painted the faces of God's chosen people, this is why the world thinks that Jesus was a white man. This is why, right? You got everyone in the uproar about Lupita Nyong'o, I think Nyong'o is her last name, right? Playing Helen of Troy. Everyone's like, oh my God, this is so historically inaccurate. Not knowing that the ancient Trojans were black. But because the white man has to be everyone, he's the last Mohican, he's the last samurai, he's everything. He's everything but the Edomites. The white man wants to be everybody in the history of human development other than who they truly are, which are the Edomites. This is why they tell you that the Egyptians were white. Imagine that, right? But this is the world that we live in. You jump in the gun, good brother Quadazop. Jump in the gun. We're going to get into that in a second, right? All praise to the Most High, right? Y'all can see my screen, right? I'm sure y'all can see my screen, right?
I don't follow Israel, though. I follow the Bible.
So what Bible do you believe in, bro?
The Hebrew Bible. I follow the Hebrew Bible. Right? They don't follow the real Bible.
No. I don't agree with that.
I'm just saying, though. I follow the Bible as it's written. Okay? So my job...
There's a difference between the Bible, the Holy Bible, and Holy Bible.
This man just said there's a difference between the Bible, the Holy Bible, and the Holy Bible. Wow. That's like him saying there's a difference between red, crimson red, and crimson red. Like, nigga, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? This is insanity.
It all depends on what chapter and what King James. I respect what you're doing.
I don't even want to begin to try to think about what the hell that means or what he's talking about.
These are your people right here.
They're not my people.
They're part of your descent.
No, they're not.
That guy is.
Him? Okay. I know. That's why I'm out here.
You know what you are, bro?
Yes, I do know who I am. I do. That's
I
why
tell you something.
I'm listening, man. I'm being patient.
I'm not a white boy, bro.
What are you?
You got the same hair color.
That don't mean nothing, brother. That don't mean nothing. Listen, that's the thing. I'm not teaching skin color. I'm not teaching skin color. I'm teaching nationality.
I'm darker than you are.
Hey, that's fine. Hey, you know what? Prime example, right? Bob Marley. He has dreadlocks.
Okay, so we're gonna talk about a singer.
No, I'm trying to give you an example of what I'm trying to do. Bob Marley, his father is a white man, but when he came out of his mother's womb, black skin with dreadlocks. He would be considered an Edomite. I'm not out here. Just happens during sex, bro. Yeah, but I'm not out here to save everybody during sex. I know, but I'm gonna choose who they have sex with. I know that, but I'm gonna tell you though, I'm not out here to save everybody. Just like Christ wasn't here to save everybody. With your polo uniform. Okay. You know where you're at right now? I do know where you're at, bro. I'm in downtown Grand Rapids. You know what state that's in? Michigan.
Like, is this nigga retarded, bro? Like, this guy is really, he had to been drunk, man. Absolutely had to been drunk. Like, this is insane, bro. These people are unbearable. Like, here's the thing. White people, leave black folk alone. Leave Latinos, leave us. We don't want to deal with y'all. By and large, black folk, we don't want to deal with y'all niggas. We don't want to be around. Listen, I don't want to be around y'all. Right? I hate when y'all come up and talk to me. I'm always cordial, right? Scripture tell you to be wise as a serpent and as harmless as a dove, right? But I honestly would really care less. I couldn't care less about white people. I don't care about y'all. And the vast majority of black folk will just be trying to live their lives, do what they gotta do, right? And not deal with y'all niggas. But y'all always gotta meddle your nose into our business. And this is a prime example. Leave black and Hispanic people alone.
Okay, and in Michigan, my people are here. Look, my brothers over there are teaching the same thing too. Those are my people over there. They're not saying. I don't know. We're on the same team. Can I tell you something? That's what I'm saying. Can I tell you something, though? I'm listening. They know who I am. Who? No, them over there? Okay. They know who you are. Okay, so who are you? My name is... What's up, bro? Yo, bro? Yo, bro? You still live here, bro? Yeah, no. You think Jesus is the devil?
This nigga is a Hamite. That is 1,000% a Hamite. God damn. I could barely see this nigga's fucking eyes. This is how black he is. This nigga's like Sudanese. Gotta be. Is there a large population of Sudanese people in Michigan? It's not a large population. Listen, I'm telling you, that nigga is Sudanese. That is a Sudanese nigga if I've ever seen it. Ali. See, he did say he was from. Bro, I be knowing, bro. That's a Sudanese nigga. That's, again, like I said, bro with the dreadlocks like a straight ham sandwich, bro.
No. Jesus is the devil. I'm saying this image of Jesus is the devil. I thought you meant Jesus. No. I'm saying Jesus is a black man. Right? Okay. So he looks more like y'all, then people look like this. So when people see this in the...
And here's Esau laughing at that idea, right? Let me tell you something. White people are going to be in for a rude awakening when Christ returns. Going to be in for a rude awakening, right? What was that? I think Thomas Jefferson quote about God being just. Watch this. So Thomas Jefferson's famous quote about God's justice is, "Indeed, I tremble for my country when I reflect that God is just, that his justice cannot sleep forever." Why is he trembling for his nation, for his country? Because of all of the rape, robbery, and murder that his people have done to God's chosen people. Right? Let's get that in the Bible real quick. Book of Micah. Zechariah, actually. Zechariah chapter 2, and I'll start in verse 7. It says, deliver thyself, O Zion, that dwelleth with the daughter of Babylon. Here we are, so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, the children of Israel. We dwell in the midst of Babylon, Babylon the Great. It says, for thus saith the Lord of hosts, after the glory hath he sent me unto the nations which spoiled you. For he that toucheth you toucheth the apple of his eye. For behold, I will shake my hand upon them, and they shall be a spoil to their servants, and ye shall know that the Lord of hosts have sent me. Right? So let's break this part down. Verse 9 says, they shall be a spoil to their servants. Right now, we are the servants. Right? We are the servants of these people, the Edomites. Okay? The Most High God says that they're going to be our spoils. We've had to serve them. They're going to have to serve us and be a spoil, right? Let's go to Isaiah chapter 16, verse 12. Watch this. Isaiah 16 and 12. Actually, I'll start at verse 10. It says, and the sons of the strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I have smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee. Therefore thy gates shall be open continually. They shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles, and that their kings may be brought. Right? The word forces means the riches. For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish. Yea, those nations shall utterly be wasted. Right? Verse 14. The sons also of them that afflicted thee shall come bending unto thee. Thomas Jefferson owned slaves. He afflicted God's people. He touched the apple of God's eye. He's going to what? He's going to be afflicted. And all they that despise thee shall bow themselves down at the soles of thy feet, and they shall call thee the city of the Lord, the Zion of the Holy One of Israel. Right? Whereas thou hast been forsaken and hated, so that no man went through thee. I will make thee an eternal excellency, a joy of many generations. Thou shalt suck the milk of the Gentiles, and shalt suck the breast of kings, and thou shalt know that I, the Lord, am thy Savior and thy Redeemer, the mighty one of Jacob. Right? So again, the Most High God, he's a just God, right? And he's going to recompense these people for, one, their perpetual hatred against us, right? And of course, for taking and putting their grubby little fingers on God's chosen land. Right? All these presidents, right? Your Andrew Jacksons, your George Washingtons, all these guys had slaves, right? And had a hand in the destruction and the spoiling of God's chosen people. This, I'm telling you, man, these people are unreal. Let's get back into it.
First, they think that this is Jesus, and the Bible don't describe Jesus like this. It describes Jesus as a black man with afro, with woolly hair, and with dark skin. As dark as if it looked like it burned in a furnace. Your dark skin, Jesus Christ looks like yo. So yeah, so people walk by like, hey, he's calling Jesus the devil. No, man. I'm saying, see, look, this catches people's attention. But no, this image in the church.
All praise to the Most High, right? So shout out to the good brother McCall from HNOY, man, for doing the work. And you know what I mean, like as the scriptures say, blessed art thou when men shall revile you and speak all manners of evil against you. So let's go into some scripts on this topic, right? So let's go to the book of Numbers chapter 24, right? And this is important because this is going into end time prophecy, right? So Numbers 24 and 17 says, I shall see him, but not now. I shall behold him, but not nigh. There shall come a star out of Jacob. Who is this star that's going to come out of Jacob? It's who the world calls Jesus Christ. He's that star that's going to rise out of Jacob. And the scepter shall rise out of Israel. The scepter. All right, let's take a look at that word real quick, right? Genesis 49, right? The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet until Shiloh come. And unto him shall be the gathering of the people be. Who is that? That's who the world calls Christ. That's where that scepter is coming from, right? That dominion, that rulership, right? Christ is he that is to rule over Israel and to reign over all nations, people, languages, and tongues, right? So this is that star that's coming out of Jacob. It says, and he shall arise out of Israel and shall smite the corners of Moab. So the Moabites, they're getting smitten, and destroy all the children of Sheph. Now, reason why Moab is being discussed is because this is Balaam, right? The Most High God, if you take a look at verse 16, right? I'll start verse 15. It says, and he took up his parable and said, Balaam, the son of Beor, have said, and the man whose eyes are open have said, he have said, which heard the words of God and knew the knowledge of the Most High, which saw the vision of the Almighty, falling into a trance by having his eyes open. So the Most High God took this guy Balaam, a heathen, right, opened his eyes to show him something, because Balaam was hired by the Moabites, by Balak, the king of the Moabites, to curse the children of Israel. And the Most High said, yeah, nah. He said, I've seen no iniquity in Jacob, right? The heathen can't curse us, right? Actually, let's get that verse real quick. Iniquity. Let me see that I've seen no iniquity. YLT. Where's that verse at? Damn, where's that verse? Might be in the previous chapter, right? But anyway, let's get back to it. So it says, again, he's going to smite the corners of Moab and destroy all the children of Sheph, right? Sheph is Seth, right? Seth being the son of Adam, right? So Adam had Cain and Abel, and then Seth, right? Or Sheph. So this is saying that he's going to destroy all the nations. When Christ returns, he's going to destroy all the nations. But Moab is being singled out because of what they did, trying to curse the children of Israel. And Edom shall be a possession, right? While we were wandering in the wilderness, the Edomites would not let us pass through their land, right? Would not let us pass through their land, right? And they came out and fought against us. So it says, in Edom shall be a possession. Seir also shall be a possession for his enemies, and Israel shall do valiantly. Out of Jacob shall come he that shall have dominion, and shall destroy him that remaineth of the city, right? When you got niggas talking about, oh, yeah, not Obadiah 18 is not talking about every Edomite. Well, Numbers 24 disagrees with you. It says he will destroy him that remaineth of the city, right? Again, in context of what? Of Edom. Verse 20, and when he looked on Amalek, he took this parable and said, Amalek was the first of the nations, but his latter end shall be that he perish forever. So the Edomites, right, according to Obadiah 18, are going to be eradicated. The Amalekites, they're the worst of the Edomites. The Edomites are so-called Caucasians today. The Amalekites are so-called Ish people, the small hats, right? It says that they are the first of the nations. What does that mean? This Hebrew word for first is the word Ra'ashiath, right? Which means the chief or the head, right? See that? Chief, choice part. They're the head, right? They're at the top, right? This is who rules the world. Who has control of the world? It's the Edomites, the border of wickedness, right? When we take a look at, for instance, 2nd Ezra chapter 6. Watch this. 2nd Ezra 6. And I'll start at verse 6. It says, then did I consider these things, and they all were made through me alone, and through none other. By me also they shall be ended, and by none other. Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times? Or when shall be the end of the first, in the first of the beginning of it that followeth? And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Esau, Edom, Jacob, Israel, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So according to biblical prophecy, the Edomites will be ruling the world at the end of days. and they would have so much power that they would have control of God's chosen land. And who is the chief of Edom? It's the Israelis, right? It's the Israelis. These are the Amalekites, right? So again, this is important because Amalek, he's the top of the nations. He's the chief. They control everything, right? Who saw that clip of Netanyahu, Marco Rubio, and Pete Kegsbreath at Lindsey Graham's funeral? Who saw that? My good. Is that my? Yeah, that's my brother Aaron. Good. Yep. Numbers 22 and 23. Surely there is no enchantment against Jacob, neither is there any divination against Israel. According to this time, it shall be said of Jacob and of Israel, what have God wrought? Behold, the people shall rise up as a great lion and lift up himself as a young lion. He shall not lie down until he eat of the prey and drink the blood of the slain. Right? That wasn't exactly what I was looking for, but that's perfect, right? So let me see. Let me get back to the chat, right? They lived in the caves, Mount Seir. They lived in the caves, Yahoo Sefer, right? Yep. You saw it. He was giving them orders, man, right? Because Benjamin Netanyahu is the president of the United States. He is the ruler of America, right? These people, right? These people have their Edomitic brothers, their American Edomitic brothers, by the balls. They got all this blackmail. This is why the Epstein files is so important, because Benjamin Netanyahu and the Israelis, right, had Epstein as a spy on not just Donald Trump, Bill Clinton, right? That's why the whole Monica Lewinsky thing was a scandal, right? Because listen, Amalek is in control of everything. He's the chief of the nations, right? And with him being the chief of the nations, right, and with his propensity and his history of trying to infiltrate governments and topple governments, it's abundantly clear that the so-called Jewish man, that they are the Amalekites, right? So actually, let's watch this, right? Let's go to the book of Esther. No, not Esther, right? So first off, let's establish who Agag is, right? Right. So in 1 Samuel 15:8, we see he took Agag, the king of the Amalekites, alive, right? So you have the Amalekites, you have this guy named Agag, right? Now, when we go to the book of Esther, during the time of the Medo-Persian captivity, right? We see here in the book of Esther, right? It says, after these things did the king Ahasuerus promote Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, and advanced him and set his seat above all the princes that were with him, right? The Persians, they had all types. They had what's called satraps, right? So they had these different governors over different lands, and the Persians, compared to the vast majority of other societies, they treated different peoples pretty decently, right? So we see that he's called an Agagite. If you take a look at this word Agagite, right? Agagia, right? That yod here, that yod character denotes that you belong to, right? Again, patronymic of what? Of Agag, king of Amalek, right? Agagite, said of Haman the Agagite, right? So we got Haman, he's an Agagite. And when you look at the story of Esther, Haman has a plot against the Jews, the actual Jews, the real Jews, right? Not the people who live in the land of Israel today. He had a plot against them. He's trying to get all the Jews killed, right? And luckily, right, we have something known as the additions to Esther, or Greek Esther, right? So let's go to the book of Esther, additions to Esther, and I believe it's in the 6th chapter, right? Actually, that's damn. Let me go back. Watch this. I'll find it. That's it. Esther 7, right? So boom. Let's go to the book of additions of Esther. I believe it's 7. What in the world? This is insanity. What is going on? Oh, they out here wilding. So 6. What? How is additions to Esther not popping up? Damn. Oh, they really tripped. All right, so additions to Esther 7:14. Watch this. Let me see. Oh, this is tripping. Where are we at? Oh, they really tripping. All right, boom. Yep. This is it. No, this is it. Same day. You gotta be kidding me. All right, boom. Watch this, right? So this is the Esther. We're in the GNT. So this is in chapter 8, right? Watch this. So I'm just getting to the point. It says, damn, what I want to start. Right, let's start at verse 17. It says, it often happens also that friends who have been entrusted with administrative responsibilities exert pressure on those in authority. They make their leaders their partners in killing people and bring about misfortunes that can never be remedied. These friends, by their lies and deceitful ways, take advantage of the goodwill of their rulers. You can see examples of this misuse of power not only in the stories that have been handed down to us from the past, but in the more recent outrageous things which have happened among you. I intend to make sure that in the future my kingdom will remain untroubled and peaceful for all people. This can be done by changing certain policies and by changing fairly each situation that comes to my attention. Consider, for example, the case of Haman, son of Hamadatha, a Macedonian. He is a foreigner with no Persian blood and with no trace of my generosity, but I welcome him, and he received the benefits of my concern and love for all people. He was, in fact, proclaimed father of the empire and received more honor than anyone else except the king. But his arrogance knew no limits, right? So this is an Agagite, right? And the Agagite, right? The Agagites are descendants of Agag, the king of the Amalekites. So this is the Amalekite. Interesting enough is that they're describing Haman, an Agagite, as what? A Macedonian. Now, if you remember history, right? After the Babylonians, right? After the Babylonians, you had the Medo-Persians. After the Medo-Persians, you had the Greeks under Alexander the Great of what? Macedonia. And then you had the Romans. So you had Edomites. This proves that, one, those Macedonians, that Alexander and his people, were Edomites, right? And they sent in Amalek, right, to infiltrate. Let's keep reading, right? Watch this. It says, and he received the benefit of my concern and love for all people. He is, in fact, proclaimed father of the empire and received more honor than anyone else except the king. But his arrogance knew no limits, and he tried to murder me and take over the empire. In his crafty and deceitful way, he asked that Mordecai be put to death. Mordecai, who once saved my life and who was always supporting me, right? So Mordecai is a Benjamite. Here comes this small hat trying to get a Caribbean brother killed, right? Mordecai, a Benjamite, so-called Caribbean people, mainly from the tribe of Benjamin, right? It says he even asked for the death of Esther, our blameless queen, and in fact, the death of all the Jewish people, right? Not the Jewish, the Jews, the real Jews. Jewish people, right, are the same people as Mordecai, as Haman. They're Agagites, they're Amalekites, right? His purpose was to leave us helpless and to allow the Macedonians to take over the Persian Empire. Even though this wicked criminal plotted to wipe out the Jews, I find that they are not traitors at all, but are governed by very just laws. They worship the living God, the highest and greatest God, who has kept our empire in its excellent condition from the time of our ancestors until our own day, right? So again, we see here in the additions to Esther, right, that the Amalekites, again, their modus operandi is to infiltrate governments. And this is what the Israelis have done through something known as AIPAC, right? Now you're asking, Ahrayahla, why are you bringing this up, right? So again, looking at this, the video that we just reacted to, this good brother, right, McCall, Ephraimite brother, got threatened by an IDF soldier, right? He's being told, oh, you don't look Israeli. The Israelis are not Jews. They are Edomites, specifically Amalekites. And the modus operandi of the Amalekites is to infiltrate governments to topple them. This is historical. This is what they do, right? And as we take a look at Section 219 of the National Defense Authorization Act, this is going to be a recipe for disaster. This is a recipe to bring upon Jacob's trouble, right? So before we dive into that real quick, let's get another scripture. Let's go to the book of Matthew, right? Just touching on what their brother experienced, right? Matthew chapter 24 and verse 9, right? I'm sorry, verse 4, it says, in Jesus, Yahawashi answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, right? This Hebrew word for nation is the word ethnos, which means ethnicities, right? Race wars. This is what Christ prophesied. Kingdom against kingdom. Right now we're seeing the kingdom of Iran versus the kingdom of America in Israel, right? We're looking at the kingdom of Ukraine against the kingdom of Russia, right? There's war all over the world, right? You got the Saudis at war with who? With the Houthis down in Yemen, right? You got Israel going against Lebanon, right? Russia just bombed Poland, right? World War III is already happening. It's about to heat up, okay? It says there shall be famines. What's going to cause these famines? Oh, I know, the Strait of Hormuz is closed. Oh, the Bab el-Mandeb Strait is essentially closed. What, 20% of the world's fertilizer comes through the Strait of Hormuz? Food prices are going up and up and up, right? Famine, right? Right now, pestilence. People are getting explosive diarrhea from eating goddamn lettuce and cabbage. And earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginnings of sorrows. Right now, family, we are in the beginning of sorrows. It's only going to get worse. This is why your faith must be unwaverable, right? Verse 9. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. Right? The good brother McCall was being hated, right? I wasn't even I didn't even pull it up. Salakia, right? Let me go back. Matthew 24. Wrong browser. Salakia. Right? You shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. Right? He's just doing what Hamashiach Yahawashi commanded his disciples to do, right? To go to the highways and to the hedges. All right? And that's what we see, all right? Us being hated of all nations. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall arise, and shall deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of man shall wax cold. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. So we got to endure all of this, family, through much tribulation, right? Actually, let me get that. Much tribulation in the book of Acts. Acts chapter 14, and I'll start at verse 19. And there came thither certain Jews from Antioch and from Iconium who persuaded the people, and having stoned Paul, drew him out of the city, supposing he had been dead. Howbeit, as the disciples stood around him, he rose up and came into the city, and the next day he departed with Barnabas to Derbe. And when they had preached the gospel to that city and had taught many, they returned again to Lystra and to Iconium and Antioch, confirming the souls of the disciples and exhorting them to continue in the faith, and that we must through much tribulation enter into the kingdom of God. Right? We're going to have to go through tribulation, family, and we're going to have to endure it. Right? Anyway, let's go to 1 Peter chapter 5 and verse 8, and that's why I want to commend the brother McCall for his restraint, right? So the Apostle Peter says, "Be sober and be vigilant, because your adversary the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour, whom resist steadfast in the faith, knowing that the same afflictions are accomplished in your brethren that are in the world." Right? So again, it comes with the territory, right? You're going to get afflicted, right? You're going to be tempted, right? You're going to have your adversary, the devil, trying to devour you, right? And the brother had great restraint in that situation, right? Let's go to the book of Revelation chapter 12. Revelation 12 and in verse 12, it says, "Therefore rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he have but a short time." Right? So what we see what's going on right now with this section 219 of the NDAA is Israel's last ditch effort, right, to milk as much as they can from who? From America, from Babylon. Why? Because they know they only got but a little time. They know that they have only but a little time. Brother Relly said 30 plus water treatment plants were hacked in Minnesota today. A glimpse of what's to come. Man, that's crazy. Oh man, that is crazy. That's a good point, but it also may have something to do with them data centers, right? Them data centers are terrible. I actually saw a video the other day where the data centers are killing cows, right? Cows in these rural areas, right, are being born stillborn near these data centers. Not only that, it's killing the bees. Now, bees are extremely important. Bees are what pollinate your food, right? Any fruit, right? Your fruits and your vegetables, right? Like for instance, right now I'm growing eggplant, right? Growing some eggplant, growing some cucumbers, growing peppers, right? Those plants, they put out flowers. The pollinators have to pollinate them so that they can actually turn into fruit, right? Well, bees are dying. The bees are dying. So again, this is all gearing up for what? For the famine. Man, it's going to be bad out here, family, right? So again, our adversary, the devil, they know that they only have but a short time. They know what's up. So that's why Trump and his cronies, they're enriching themselves because they only got a little bit of time, right? They're greedy, right? They're greedy dogs that cannot be satiated, right? Now let's dive into a video real quick, right? So this is fair use, right? Fair use. Let me get the fair use in the chat. Fair use, right? This is fair use, right? So we're gonna be reacting to the Young Turks. This is from 6 days ago.
We've talked about Section 219 a lot on the show. Of course, that is the provision in the National Defense Authorization Act that merges the Israeli military with our own. Now, in recent weeks, we've been hearing over and over again from Israel supporters, politicians, media figures, and pundits alike that no, that's not what this does. This does not integrate the IDF into our own military. That's crazy. I'll give you one example. Democratic Representative Adam Smith, here he is, downplaying what Section 219 is.
Section 224 has been of a lot of interest to our audience. This is what
So it used to be called Section 224, now it's Section 219.
Would effectively partially merge the U.S. military with the Israeli military. You were originally in support of it. You changed your position on it. I just wanted to know about your thought process here.
Merge the U.S. military with the Israeli military. What it does is it talks about co-development programs. And mostly I see this as a benefit to the U.S. military, particularly when you're talking about missile defense. The Israeli military is really good at it. They can help us develop those systems so that we have a better system. I think it's an incredible exaggeration to say that this would merge the U.S. military, because out of thousands, literally thousands of programs, we would have 3, 4, maybe 5 or 6 that we were co-developing with the IDF.
But you've changed your position now, correct?
Okay, so before I get to the facts on the matter, what's up with his vocal fry? That's a real vocal fry. It's not a Jillian Michaels fake vocal fry. And I love it. I think it's hilarious. Anyway, but let's move on to the substance now. So military.com did a pretty fantastic in-depth report on Section 219. You heard there, Crystal Ball referred to it as Section 224. That was the original title. It later changed to 219, but we're talking about the exact same thing. So I'm gonna read you the excerpts that matter here. Haley Fuller, and thank you to Haley because this is an excellent report, wrote the following. Section 219 would direct the Defense Secretary to designate a Pentagon executive agent to oversee the United States-Israel Defense Technology Cooperation Initiative. That official would coordinate bilateral defense research, development, testing, evaluation, and industrial cooperation. That sounds like a lot. That sounds like everything in the military. No, does it not? Does it not? Let me read it again. Graphic 3. It would direct the Defense Secretary to designate a Pentagon executive agent to oversee the United States-Israel Defense Technology Cooperation Initiative. That official would coordinate bilateral defense research, development, testing, evaluation, and industrial cooperation. But there's more. There's more. The proposal originated as a bipartisan, bicameral United States-Israel Futures Act. Let me just emphasize the word bipartisan once more. We live under a uniparty because on the issues that matter the most, on the issues that literally get our own people killed, widespread agreement on the left and the right, isn't there? I mean, there isn't really a left in this country. Let's keep it 100.
Oh, sorry. So real quick, I just wanted to point out. So the Defense Secretary is Pete Hegseth, right? His new title is the Secretary of War, right? Trump changed that, right? So we just saw over at Lindsey Graham's funeral, Bibi telling Marco, and telling Pete Kegsbreath their orders, right? Bro, this is insane. This is going to be terrible, right? And just 2 years ago, I believe it was 2 years ago, right? Trump allowed for the small hats to define what anti-Semitism is. Right? Shout out to the good brother Yadi died from the Masada. He did a video the other day, right, where you had this small hat where he wants to arrest people, right? Wants people arrested for essentially anti-Semitism. This is going to affect Hebrew Israelites, right? This is going to affect us, right? Anyone who's so-called left-leaning, right? They are going to be considered domestic terrorists, right? Let's continue.
So let's name some names, because there was a name here that I was unaware of until military.com put out this great report. So again, it bears repeating. Thank you to Haley Fuller for this incredible reporting. The proposal originated as a bipartisan, bicameral United States-Israel Futures Act introduced in the House by Representatives Ronnie Jackson, a Republican from Texas, and Don Davis, a Democrat in North Carolina, with companion legislation from Senators Ted Budd, a Republican, and of course, Kirsten Gillibrand, a Democrat from New York. And if you're curious, per the AIPAC tracker, Ronnie Jackson has received over $90,000 from pro-Israel PACs. Don Davis has received, oh my God, you are going to believe this, over $4 million from the Israel lobby. Ted Budd has received $80,000 and Kirsten Gillibrand, $629,000. Jackson framed the proposal as a way to preserve America's technological advantage and deliver new battlefield capabilities to service members. What a crock of crap. Davis emphasized its potential to prepare troops for evolving threats, particularly unmanned systems and electronic warfare. Let's pause for a second. Unmanned systems. Yeah, let's have a little convo with the IDF.
Let's have AI. Let's have AI determine who lives and who dies. Like, come on. Great point. Over 600 U.S. casualties, 0 IDF military. Right? Schmoltrich, right? Schmoltrich just said, yeah, we like our position with this situation right now with the war. Yeah, we don't want to get involved. Of course you don't want to get involved because you want to continue to commit genocide in Gaza and the West Bank. Right now they're about to escalate in the West Bank. Just the other day, TRT reported how in the West Bank you have these settlers and they're mostly like 13-year-old kids with fucking rifles. In Israel, they allow 13-year-old kids to roam around with rifles to literally terrorize the Palestinian people. That happens, right? Basically, they had the IDF backing them up as well. And just the other day, they are attacking this Palestinian family. One of the Palestinian men got his hand on a gun, shot a couple of them. I'm not sure if he killed a couple of other small hats. And then, of course, he got killed, right? And now they're calling it a terrorist attack. It is a terrorist attack. You guys are the terrorists. But, you know, we live in a world where Amalek is the chief of the nations. So they control the media. They can spin it however they want. And no one's going to do anything to stop them, right? And on the global scale. It just is what it is.
In South Lebanon, how are they handling those unmanned drones that are getting them killed? We need their advice? Right. Okay. Senators Budd and Gillibrand have similarly presented the initiative as an expansion of existing work on missile defense. This is important, guys. Because remember that list I read to you that shows you just how integrated our militaries would be? That list grows bigger. So it work on missile defense, drones, and underground threats as a means to strengthen American military and technological capabilities. Do you see the humiliation ritual as clearly as I do? Because in order to sell this to the American people, you have American politicians on the left and the right repeating, regurgitating BS about how we need the Israelis so bad. Our military, they're just so incompetent. What would we do without the Israelis? They're so much more advanced than we are. Oh, if they're so advanced, then why aren't they giving us military aid? If they're so advanced, if they're rock solid, why are they desperately trying to integrate into our military to skirt any backlash from the American people in
Ruben, what are you talking about? That she's on conservative griff. Anna Kasparian is a liberal of liberals, super liberal. Could be, right? Especially if they consider you a domestic terrorist, right? Watch this. Actually, this is this video. Watch this. Watch. We're gonna come back to that. Watch this video again. Fair use.
The goal is simple: leverage government data onto private citizens to predict.
But Palantir.
Heads up, the Trump administration is creating an AI system for, quote, pre-crime policing. The goal is simple: leverage government data onto private citizens to predict crimes before they happen. And this is setting off alarm bells because pre-crime policing could lead to individuals being targeted and their rights being stripped. First reported by Reason, the Trump administration is now seeking AI tools to flag Americans before they take action. And the office that's doing this is the FBI office responsible for maintaining the terrorist watch list. In this second Trump administration, the Terrorist Screening Center, the FBI group wanting this new tool, has expanded the, quote, threats that it looks at: anti-Christianity threats, anti-capitalism threats, anti-Americanism, gender, and, quote, hostility towards those who hold traditional American views on family, religion, and morality. Well, that's very broad. People need to know what's happening. Spread the word. Follow for more. Heads up.
So again, Hebrew Israelites, right? Let's go to this last part that he said. Watch this.
But Palantir.
Heads up, the Trump administration is creating an AI system screening center, the FBI group wanting this new tool, has expanded the, quote, threats that it looks at: anti-Christianity
threats. That's Hebrew Israelites. Anti-Christianity.
Anti-capitalism threats. Anti-Americanism.
Anti-Americanism. Hebrew Israelites.
Extremism on migration.
Extremism on migration is okay. How dare America try to prevent Mexicans and Central Americans from entering the country, right? When they stole this land, that can be seen as what he just described.
Race and gender, and, quote,
on race. Oh, blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans are the Israelites. Oh, that can be deemed as what? Anti-Semitic.
Hostility towards those who hold traditional American views on family, religion, and morality.
Traditional American views on religion. What's the traditional American view on religion? Protestant Christianity. And what? Christian Zionism. Oh, Hebrew Israelites. Gotcha.
Well, that's very broad. People need to know what's happening. Spread the word. Follow for more. Heads up, the trumpet.
So, family, this is shaping up to be a shit show, a shit storm, a shit everything. Shit's about to hit the fan. This is about to be bad. Right? Great point. All these laws will be designed to profile us and to silence us. Right? Let's get one more.
But Palantir, also works extensively.
So we got Flock, right? We got all these Flock cameras. They tracking everything. We live in a big old police state, right? And then Palantir is an Israeli company, right? And if I'm not mistaken, there's going to be Palantir software on the new iPhones. That's why I said the other day when the good brother Yachty was live. This is my last iPhone, right? I have an iPhone 16 Pro. This will be my last iPhone, okay?
now in the private sector as well. They're a major AI engine for Wall Street banks, for example, and they have different programs that are sold to different entities, but ultimately they are a massive contractor to essentially every U.S. intelligence agency, and that includes DHS and ICE.
Great. DHS and ICE.
Which a lot of the reporting, critical reporting on Palantir focuses on their contracts with ICE specifically, but all of that is intended to also be...
Again, this is going to affect our Latino brothers and sisters, right? This is going to affect the Northern Kingdom of Israel. Again, we are in Jacob's trouble. Make no doubts about that. We are in Jacob's trouble, right? We are the children of Jacob, and we are in trouble, right? It's only going to get worse.
Used against people that are not illegal immigrants. It's meant to be an entire dragnet of basically pre-crime, and Palantir, in concordance with Poindexter's ambitions, has been a major piloter of pre-crime technology in the United States. I think they began doing that in New Orleans initially. They call it predictive policing is the term that they use, but a lot of other companies have attempted to also get in on this. One of the most notorious being Predpol, that was a partnership, I believe, with UCLA and LAPD or something to that effect. And they're notoriously inaccurate, and they're almost always piloted in low-income minority neighborhoods.
They're always piloted where? In low-income minority neighborhoods. Who? The Israelites. This is, guys, you cannot make this up. You can't make this up. The Bible is real. The scriptures are real. We are living biblical prophecy each and every day. Each and every day we are living biblical prophecy. It's being fulfilled every day.
In essence, what happens, because the accuracy rate is so low, is that you're creating this pipeline of people basically being sent to prison, or being caught up in crimes that are very petty. But you're just sending police to all these areas in a relatively discriminatory way. And then in some of these areas where Palantir ended up leaving, another Peter Thiel-backed entity called Carbine also has a predictive policing component that has been sort of taking over 911 emergency call systems throughout the United States, which is generally at the county level. But this is a company that wasn't just funded by Peter Thiel. It was funded by Jeffrey Epstein and was led for a significant amount of time by Ehud Barak, the former Israeli prime minister.
By who?
As well, and has sort of expanded outwards. So a lot of Poindexter's Barak, the former Israeli prime minister, as well, and has sort of expanded.
Oh my gosh, shorts.
So a lot of Poindexter's ambitions, unfortunately, have been becoming funded by Peter Thiel. It was funded by Jeffrey Epstein. It was led for a significant amount of time by Ehud Barak, the former Israeli prime minister, as well, and has sort of expanded outwards. So a lot of Poindexter's ambitions, unfortunately, have been becoming true at a really rapid pace.
Man, oh man, guys, Amalek's all in. Again, Amalek is the chief of the nations, right? Amalek is the chief of the nations, right? I was going to go into this video, TYT, they're going into the whole pre-crime thing, but this is a 17-minute long video, so we're not going to go into this. But again, let's get back into this section 219.
Regard to the MOU that shells out, if they're so advanced, if they're rock solid, why are they desperately trying to integrate into our military to skirt any backlash from the American people in regard to the MOU that shells out over $4 billion a year in military aid to Israel? If their military is so much more advanced, why aren't they fighting Iran?
Great question.
So the lawmakers that I listed are not the architects of this plan. If you're wondering who the architect of this plan is, you're about to find out. A June 1st letter from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu also appeared to claim credit for the broader policy, describing a shift from US aid toward joint defense cooperation, development, production, and investment as my plan. Netanyahu referred to it as his plan.
Amalek himself. This might be the man Amalek himself. This devil right here, Satan Yahoo, that might be Amalek himself.
So all the little boys and girls that he controls in our Congress who insist on throwing the American people under the bus, humiliating us and our military by claiming that we're just not as sophisticated and as advanced as the Israelis are. They're taking their orders from this guy, a literal war criminal. There's more. Because that list I read you of all the different ways in which the IDF would be baked into our military, it's even longer than what I expressed. The initiative would, it's amazing. The initiative would cover counter-drone systems, missile and air defense, artificial intelligence, quantum technology, autonomous systems, directed energy weapons, advanced sensors, cybersecurity, electronic warfare, biotechnology.
Biotechnology. Whoa, 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 whoa. That's scary. That right there is scary. Biotechnology. Interesting. Let's just take a look here. Right? Biotechnology. Biotechnology is the use of living cells and biological systems from plants, animals, microorganisms to develop new products, tools, and technologies that improve human health and the planet. Is the RFID microchip biotechnology? RFID microchip biotechnology uses radio waves to track or identify objects and living beings. Oh my God, man. Lord in Christ. Let's see something. Let me see. They've been. All right, boom. Cyber organization, future medicine, right? So this is the medical futurist. Everything you need to know before getting an RFID implant. What if you could turn on a coffee machine by pointing to it? Wannabe cyborgs with little RFID chips under their skin are living with us. Tens of thousands of people implanted the tiny devices already under their skin to have simpler access to buildings or other people's phones. Let me see.
Hi, this is Dr. Bertalan Meshku, the medical futurist, and today I want to talk about RFID chips and whether or not it's a good idea to implant one.
So you have something else that's really interesting in the newsletter about people in Sweden putting implants, microchips, right, into them. We've seen something like this here. There's a company that
in
they're
Wisconsin,
right, so they could get stuff out of the vending machine with these microchips. So what's happening in Sweden?
In the past couple of years, Sweden has seen a growing number of people getting microchips implanted under the skin.
All right, so this is happening in Sweden right now. Again, it's happening in the States. It's all over the place, right? I wonder if Israeli RFID. Let me see some. Let's take a look. Okay, so it says Israel's involvement with RFID and microchip technology centers on semiconductor manufacturing, military supply tracking, and commercial innovations rather than mandatory human microchipping. Okay, sure. Key areas include semiconductor foundries like Tower Semiconductor, logistics developments by the military EE Times, and edge AI integration. Let's see what they're talking about. Let's see what they're talking about. But yeah, family, listen, this is, I'm going to do more research on this, right? But let me tell you something. The small hats have something to do with everything that's going on, all right? RFID also include a kill switch for humans. Those deemed unuseful or undesirable will get zapped with poison. Listen, would not be surprised.
And medical defense. It also contemplates joint testing, production, procurement, supply chain coordination, network connections, and the incorporation of Israeli or jointly developed technology into U.S. military programs. I'd like to cue up the Adam Smith video again so we can remember what he did when he decided to lie to the American people by downplaying the seriousness of this. Because honestly, what's left? What other way could the Israelis possibly force themselves into our military? What portion of the military are they not attempting to infiltrate here? I'd like Adam Smith to answer that question. But, you know, it's not about merging, is it? Is it not? I don't know. Take a look.
Section 224 has been of a lot of interest to our audience. This is what would effectively partially merge the U.S. military with the Israeli military. You were originally in support of it. You changed your position on it. I just wanted to know about your thought process here.
Merge the U.S. military with the Israeli military. What it does is it talks about co-development programs. And mostly I see this as a benefit to the U.S. military, particularly when you're talking about missile defense. The Israeli military is really good at it. They can help us develop those systems so that we have a better system. I think it's an incredible exaggeration to say that this would merge the U.S. military, because out of thousands, literally thousands of programs, we would have 3, 4, maybe 5 or 6 that we were co-developing with the IDF.
But you've changed your position now, correct?
We have developed, provided, and continuously funded the Iron Dome system in Israel. Israel did not develop it themselves, and they certainly are not paying for it themselves. Adam Smith is a liar.
Great question, Relly.
He's obviously lying about the severity and invasiveness of Section 219. He is lying about our own military capabilities and the IDF's military capabilities. And the worst part about all of this, or more importantly, the best way to think of how invasive this is the way that this whole situation was framed by Colonel Douglas Macgregor on the Daniel Davis Deep Dive today. Macgregor said what this would do, what Section 219 would do, and he's a colonel, so he would know. It would codify and legalize what Jonathan Pollard did in being a traitor to the United States and selling American secrets to the Israelis. He served 20 years in prison for that. And what did the Israelis do afterward? They sold those secrets to the Soviets, which I don't know if you guys can recall, we weren't really friendly with at the time. Whatever you might think of the Soviet Union, they were enemies to the United States. And so why are we aligned with a country that keeps spying on us, stealing our nuclear secrets, things like that? Makes no sense. And now with Section 219, all of the potential Jonathan Pollards scurrying about in the CIA or wherever in our government will be free. In fact, they will be urged to share those secrets with the Israelis. Congratulations, America. By the way, for the right price, I'm sure Israel will go ahead and sell those secrets to anyone, including our biggest enemies. Why not? It's not like they haven't done it before.
Yeah, family. So buckle up. Buckle up, man. We are in for quite a ride here in Babylon. Now, I wanted to point something out. So this was produced last year, right? But it's been coming back, circulating again, right? Countering domestic terrorism and organized political violence, right? Oops, nope. Watch this. I just want to go to us, right? So they're talking about domestic. They're going to label people as domestic terrorism, right? All right. So jumping down here to this paragraph, it says there are common. So this is on the WhiteHouse.gov, right? So this is as official tissue as it gets, right? So it says there are common recurrent motivations and indicia uniting this pattern of violent and terroristic activities under the umbrella of self-described anti-fascism, right? So mainly like Antifa, right? They're going to be attacking them, right? Trump and the Republicans are really trying to attack the left, right? Liberals. The issue is, right, we're probably going to get lumped up in that, even though Hebrew Israelites, we're not liberal, right? We're not liberal whatsoever. So it says these movements portray foundational American principles. Example, support for law enforcement and border control. Clearly, Hebrew Israelites, we're not. We listen. Fuck ICE, right? They have a problem with that. If you're anti-ICE, right, anti-law enforcement, right, if you're saying FTP, right, they might label you as what? As a terrorist group. It says as fascists to justify and encourage acts of violent revolution. This anti-fascist lie has become the organization rallying cry used by domestic terrorists to wage a violent assault against democratic institutions, constitutional rights, and fundamental American liberties. Common threads animating this violent conduct include anti-Americanism, anti-capitalism, and anti-Christianity, support for the overthrow of the United States government, extremism on migration, race and gender, and hostility towards those who hold traditional American views on family, right? So right here, the overthrow of the United States government, right? Again, they're going to come at the Hebrew Israelites, right? There's a term that I somewhat coined, Matawathya ball, right? That can be seen as, they can try to construe that as, oh, I want to overthrow the government. I don't want to overthrow the government at all. I have no desire to overthrow the United States government, for the record, right? But again, because our views are anti-Christian, right, which is a core American, somehow Christianity is somehow a core American principle. Meanwhile, the Constitution literally says that there should be a separation of church and state. So this is unconstitutional as fuck. But when martial law is the law of the land, the Constitution goes out the window. Right? Let's continue. It says extremism on migration, race, and gender, and hostility towards those who hold traditional American views on family, religion, and morality. As described in the order of September 2025, designating Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization, the groups and entities that perpetuate this extremism have created a movement that embraces and elevates violence and achieve policy outcomes, including justifying additional assassinations. For example, Charlie Kirk's alleged assassin engraved the bullets used in the murder with so-called anti-fascist rhetoric. So again, this here is all a bunch of fucking bullshit, right? and they are going to try their damnedest and their hardest to come after anyone that goes against their ideology and their sentiments, right? So, family, we have to, again, first and foremost, we have to have the hedge of the Most High God's protection over us, right? Let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 34 and verse 7. It reads, "The angel of the Lord encampeth round about them that fear him and delivereth them." Right? So if you fear the Lord, you keep his commandments, the Lord has his angels hedged around about you, right? Now, I want to get into one last Bible verse, right? Let's go to the book of Second Ezra, right? Second Ezra, chapter 16. Second Ezra 16, and we're going to start at verse, I think 66 is what I want. Right. So Second Ezra chapter 16 verse 66, it says, "What will ye do? Or how will ye hide your sins before God and his angels? Behold, God himself is the judge. Fear him. Leave off from your sins." This is what our people need to do. So-called Black, Hispanics, Native Americans, right? We are the children of Israel, right? We are entering into a time that is going to be worse than anything that has ever happened in the history of humanity, right? So, Daniel chapter 12 literally describes Jacob's trouble as the worst time ever, right? And we are the children of Jacob, so Jacob is going to be in trouble, and the Redeemer is going to come to Zion and those that turn from transgression, right? So Christ is only going to deliver the Israelites, right? So-called Blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans who act here in Babylon specifically, who actually keep God's law, statutes, commandments. Okay, it says, "Leave off from your sins and forget your iniquities, to meddle no more with them forever. So shall God lead you forth and deliver you from all trouble. For behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you. And they shall take away certain of you and feed you, being idle with things offered to idols. And they that consent unto them shall be had in derision." See how this is important, right? I remember when a few months back, the conversation about, eating things sacrificed to idols. You got Israelites that say, "Oh, it's idols, nothing. You can eat something sacrificed to idol." Look at what Second Ezra says. You niggas are gonna die, right? It says, "And they that consent unto them shall be had in derision and in reproach and trodden underfoot. For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord," right? There's going to be an insurrection against those that fear the Lord. "They shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. Then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as gold in the fire. Hear ye, my beloved, saith the Lord. Behold, the days of trouble are at hand, but I will deliver you from the same. Be ye not afraid, neither doubt, for God is your God." See, the book of Hebrews 11 says that it is impossible to please God without faith, right? We have to have unwavering faith. The Most High God, right? Think about it like this, right? Our forefather Abraham, he is known as the father of the faith, right? And the Most High God tested Abraham to literally sacrifice his son. I'm a new father, right? I'm a new father. I love my son to death. Could you imagine the Most High telling you, hey, go sacrifice your son? That's heavy. And Abraham is the father of the faith. And guess what? Abraham was willing to do it, and the Most High God stopped him, right? Provided a ram in the thicket, right? Delivered him from that, right? I'll give you another example. Actually, real quick, let's go to, we'll come back here to 2nd Ezra. I want to get, I just want to, of course, encourage brothers and sisters, right? So, Wisdom of Solomon, man, it's such a good book, man, right? So, Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 3, and I'll start from the top. It says, but the souls of the righteous are in the hand of God, right? What is our righteousness? Deuteronomy 6:25, the commandments. If we do all these commandments, this is our righteousness. It says, and there shall no torment touch them. In the sight of the unwise, they seem to die, and their departure is taken from misery. So listen, if you listen, death before dishonor, right? If you die, especially here in the last days, understand very well that guess what? You're dying for a reason. You're dying for a cause. The Most High God is going to resurrect you. Right? You're dead. Let's say that you get unalived in this tribulation. You're at rest. You don't have to deal with Babylon anymore. Right? It says, in the sight of the unwise, they seem to die, and their departure is taken from misery. And they're going from us to be utter destruction, but they are in peace. So you gotta be willing to die. Yahawashi said, be thou faithful unto death, and I will give you a crown of life. Right? That's what's that, Revelation chapter 2, right? Revelation chapter 2 and verse 10. Let's get that real quick. Right? Revelation 2 and 10, it says, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison. Now, again, this is coming off the heels of Revelation 2 and 9, talking about the synagogue of Satan, right? Again, right now, we're seeing the merging of the synagogue of Satan, the IDF, the Israeli military, with the U.S. military, Babylon's military, right? They say that they're Jews. They're not, right? We may be in poverty and tribulation, but we're rich because we have the kingdom. Right? We're going to have the riches of the kingdom. All of the riches, all the forces of the Gentiles are going to be converted unto us, thus saith the Lord, right? Verse 10, it says, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. And he that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. He that overcometh shall not be hurt of the second death, right? You don't want that second death, right? Because if you are not faithful unto death, you're going to die in that second death, right? So now, coming back to Wisdom of Solomon chapter 3, it says, verse 4, for though they be punished in the sight of men, yet is their hope full of immortality. And having been a little chastised, they shall be greatly rewarded. For God proved them and found them worthy of himself. As gold in the furnace hath he tried them and received them as a burnt offering. And in the time of their visitation, they shall shine and run to and fro like sparks among the stubble. They shall judge the nations and have dominion over the people, and their Lord shall reign forever. Right? So this is what we have to look forward to, right? It says, though you die or go into destruction, you can be in peace, right? It says in verse 1, it says, there shall no torment touch them. When I think about Stephen getting stoned in Acts 7, and he just looked up and he saw Yahawashi sitting at the right hand of the Father, I believe that Stephen didn't even feel those stones, right? That's what I believe, right? So coming back here to 2nd Ezra chapter 16, right? Jump down to verse 74. Hear, O ye my beloved, saith the Lord, behold, the days of trouble are at hand, but I will deliver you from the same. Be ye not afraid, neither doubt, for God is your guide, and the guide of them who keep my commandments and precepts, saith the Lord God. Let not your sins weigh you down, and let not your iniquities lift up themselves. Woe be unto them that are bound with their sins, right? You got something that you're dealing with, right? Something that you're struggling with, right? You need to not be weighed down by your sins, right? And covered with their iniquity, like as a field is covered over with bushes, and the path thereof covered with thorns, that no man travail through. It is left undressed and is cast into the fire to be consumed therewith, right? So if you allow your sins to weigh you down, right, to cover you, right? The scripture talking about how our people are laden, right, covered in iniquity. You don't want to be that, right? Because what's going to happen? You're going to be thrown into that fire. You're going to get that second death. You're going to die and die again, right? So you got to be faithful unto death so we can get those crowns of life, right? Gary, I've never heard of GCL. No, I've never heard of them. What's the reason? But yeah, we're pretty much done here, family. We're pretty much done here. All praise to the Most High. Any questions before we wrap up? Any questions, family? Right. Again, make sure you guys like and share the video. Make sure you guys like and share the video. Make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. Right. Hit that bell icon so you get notified whenever I go live. Whenever I drop a video. All my social media is down here at the bottom. Right here. Yeah, scan that. Get yourself a copy of the HIB, the Hebrew Israelite Bible. Scan that. It'll take you directly to the website. All praise to the Most High. Right. Again, make sure that you guys like and share the videos. Right. When this live is over, come back and come back and hype the video. Right. So again, like, share, subscribe, hype the video, family. All praise to the Most High. Tomorrow is Friday. We will be live again tomorrow, right? Last Friday, we went over the Pharaoh of the Exodus. If you have not watched that lesson, right, you need to tap in, right? Powerful lessons of the Spirit and power of Yahawah, shanyam-ishar. Tomorrow, we're going to venture into to finding out and examining who Moses could be in the Egyptian record, right? So again, make sure you hit that bell icon, family, so that you get notified, right, as we bring out this edification, right? Any questions in the chat before we wrap up? All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High, Brother McCall. Appreciate your work too, King. Brother Raquam, he says, I have a question. Yahawashi said to flee during the coming troubles. So you're talking about Matthew chapter 24, right? And that was in the context of 70 AD. So I wouldn't necessarily say that is in reference to today. But what I will say is this, right? Let me go there real quick. Right. So boom. Matthew 24:15. And when ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand. Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains, those that be in Judea, right? So that's what we're talking about. Now, again, we ain't going to be able to get up out of Babylon but by the Most High God delivering us, right? However, what I would say is this, right? I think it was a brother Reuben had said it. He said it a little earlier. Let me see if I find his comment. He said, I suppose living off grid and growing our own food is the best option in the end times. And I would say that's indeed probably the best option, right? Do we all have the means to do so? Not necessarily. All right, Adon, I'm gonna put that in there. Let me get that. I'll get that for you. Give me a second. All right, boom. Let me go ahead and do that. Let me do that right now. I was thinking about that earlier. I was like, I forgot to do that. Good. Good job pointing that out, Drive. All right, new upload, file upload. Where was that? There we go. Share. All right, bong. I'm about to put it in the chat for you right now. All praise to the Most High. All right, so it's in the chat right now. Let me go ahead and put it in the description real quick. All right. So the link is in the description of the video. All right. And the link is also in the chat. All right. Any other questions, family? All right. All praise to the Most High. Again, family, appreciate y'all coming through, tapping in, man. Make sure you guys like and share the video, right? Follow me again on all these social media platforms down here at the bottom, right? Scan right here to get you a copy of the Hebrew Israelite Bible, right? Until next time, Shalawam, family, and Matawathya ball.